Om Shanti, everyone. Good evening.
Om Shanti, sister.
Om Shanti. Lovely to be with all of you in Los Angeles. This is one of the beautiful things about uh, the days that we are in. Though it's crisis, it has given an opportunity for all of us to connect, no matter where we are in the world. So, as they say, every crisis has an opportunity, right? And so, this is the opportunity as a worldwide family of souls that we connect with each other um, and experience and share those moments, what is common to all of us. So, how about we start with few moments of meditation before we go into the session? Yeah. I request everyone to be seated. If you're doing something, please keep it aside for a few moments and just give yourself that time. Because, of course, you can meditate whilst you're doing your work, but I think sometimes it's better you give some time for yourself and settle down calmly, and especially in the evening times, where it's um, the atmosphere is settling down and you wind up with your work, and especially, of course, today is Saturday. So, okay, so everyone just be seated. And if everyone can mute yourself, please. Okay, for a few moments. I sit relaxed and I slow down. Gently allow yourself to slow down. So let us start from the feet. Allow all the muscles in your feet to slow down and relax. Let all the senses of the body slow down. There is nothing to do, nowhere to go right now. Just allow yourself to slow down. As your body gets relaxed, now allow your mind, all your thoughts to slow down. And as an observer, look at your own senses and your thoughts slowing down. No rush in your thoughts. As the thoughts slow down, the mind begins to enter a cave of peace. I step into the cave of peace. I step into the cave of silence. If you're still, if your thoughts are still wandering or in upheaval, try and do it again. Slow down. Do it practically and feel the silence within. This silence within is power. Because in this silence, I experience inner stability. I am becoming stable inside. Experience this. Quiet, powerful. Once again, as an observer, look at your own self. What is the feeling you're experiencing right now? As the silence flows through the being, I, the being, am in silence. My thoughts are quiet, fewer and far apart. A silent mind. I can see the silence in my face. And in all my senses. Om Shanti. Thank you. So these moments of silence are absolutely necessary in our life, right? Because we wake up and we are on a go, run, run, run. And sometimes very hardly we give time to ourselves. Just share the screen. Okay, so yes, today's topic is the ability to bend without breaking. And so let us begin with this power of silence. So, this ability to bend without breaking actually begins from this inner power of silence. How often we go into a moment of silence and we practically experience that silence within. Many times they say, let us take 2 minutes of silence. But in that 2 minutes of silence, the mind wanders so much, right? And you notice that in the 2 minutes of silence, the mind is more wandering than before. But it's not that the mind is more wandering than before in silence. Sometimes people do say that when I meditate, my mind is all over the place. It's not that when you meditate, your mind is all over the place and you can't concentrate. But the mind is already all over the place. But in meditation, when you're calming down, you're actually looking at your thoughts, you know, how is your thinking pattern and how the mind is wandering. You're able to actually look at your mind. And so it becomes absolutely essential actually to take those few moments of silence during the day. But do I really understand and experience silence? That's the question I need to ask myself, because sometimes even it becomes difficult to take a minute of silence. Like, silence is not just I sit in a chair, yes, I'm in silence. No. When we are talking about silence, it's about the silence of the mind, right? Your inner power, your inner silence, the silence of the soul. So during the day, a few times go beyond these physical senses, go beyond the hustle and bustle, go beyond the external world and extrovertedness, and just step into that your inner world, and look at your inner world. How is that inner world? Is it filled with silence? Is it filled with beauty? You know, we live so much in the external world that we're sometimes just scared to even be in silence to look at our own inner world. It's like the external world is becoming bigger and bigger, and the internal world is getting dormant. But this inner world is so beautiful if I actually look into it. Right? So taking those few moments of pause during the day and just going within the self, having that introverted moments, that silence for the self is absolutely necessary, because the more I actually go inwards, I know how beautiful my inner world is. because we give very less time to our inner world. It's as though it's as if it feels like the inner world doesn't exist. When you see the ocean from the surface, you see the vastness, of course, but when you go inside the ocean, you see the tremendous, the reality of vastness that the ocean has, the depth. In the same way, create this power of silence each day, going into this, inner world. Pause and look at your inner world, how it is. Let your mind practically slow down, because then you're restoring your energy, your inner strength. So what happens when I have these few moments of silence each day, is this: I experience this beautiful mind that I have. A peaceful mind generates power, right? A chaotic mind doesn't. Have you had wonderful decision making, or um, happiness when you had, or did you feel strength when you had, a peaceless mind? Instantly you feel like, you're losing yourself, right? So it's very essential. We have used this word peace a lot, and sometimes we feel it doesn't have relevance. How can I be peaceful? I cannot sit in peace, or it's too boring. That's what sometimes we say or experience. But it's a treasure. Peace is this beautiful treasure inside, and once we have the treasure, it's like it creates all beautiful colors of virtues in my life. A peaceful mind is powerful. A peaceful mind is happy. A peaceful mind is content. A peaceful mind is compassionate. A peaceful mind, most importantly, is stable, right? A peaceful mind is stable. I don't immediately jump into conclusions. I don't immediately react to things. A peaceful mind holds it. They say that a smart driver is not who drives very fast. Then who is a smart driver? A smart driver is who applies brake at the right time, right? The same way, I have to be that smart driver. I, the soul, should be that smart driver. I should know when to apply that brakes. Why? Because these days we live in a world where there are a lot of challenges we face. There are storms, right? There are ups and downs, sudden situations. So to respond to those situations that we face in our day-to-day life, I need that inner stability to be really grounded from inside. Just doesn't happen. Sometimes what we are doing is we're just jumping from this session to the other session. Let me see what they are talking. Let me see what this book is saying. But we are so busy listening, but we are not giving time to actually sit down and digest, to churn it, to allow it to turn into power. So it's all sitting here, but it's not actually generating any power because I'm not giving that time to bring it into practicality. So yes, it becomes very, very essential that we know what's going on in the world. We don't have to talk. We are all the time seeing in the news, and here we are not to talk about what's going on in the world. We know what's going on in the world. We know what's going on in our personal lives. We know what sort of challenges we face day to day. But what I need to check is, how is my response to all of that? Do I become instantly agitated? Do I become unstable, reactive? Or have I become very sensitive that even a little thing is bothering me these days? Even a little thing I cannot take. Even somebody said something, I become like, touch me not, don't touch me, right? It's like I close myself and I become isolated, or I react to that extent that I lose my power. So the point here is, how am I responding to things? How am I responding to what's going on, around me? And so it becomes very, very essential to do the spiritual practices. It's absolutely essential. Really, I feel that time has gone that, you know, excuse me, at a superficial level, we listen to this and listen to that, and which is wonderful. Of course, it's giving us idea, it's giving us stimulus, right? We cannot just sit isolated and say, I'm going to meditate, I'm going to do my stuff. No, sometimes we need that stimulus. We need people around us. We need to actually learn something new. But at the same time, taking that moments of solitude every single day, do some spiritual practice for yourself. And that's where you generate a peaceful mind. That's where you generate inner stability. Because if we are talking about bending without breaking, I need that inner stability. And this is where it comes that, bending without breaking means it's like, things will happen in our life, but what is needed is you being grounded. How much am I grounded internally? How much do I stay internally stable? And that comes from every day a spiritual practice for yourself. So here, giving an example of a bamboo tree, we all know how wonderful is this bamboo and how many qualities the bamboo tree has. And just as an example, bamboo is absolutely flexible, right? It's bending with the wind, but never breaking. It has the capability of adapting to any circumstance. There is a little story about bamboo tree, is that a farmer, he actually plants the bamboo, and it really takes long time for the bamboo to even sprout. And so he keeps waiting for the bamboo to sprout. He's waiting. Um, and it took almost for him, a couple of years, and he's still not seeing any sprouts coming up. And he's wondering now what to do. Shall I actually sustain this, or shall I not do anything about it? But then somewhere in the corner of his heart, he feels like, no, let me keep nurturing this. Who knows? And so what he keeps doing is he keeps watering it. And so he waits for about 6 years, literally 6 years. And then he starts to see the sprouts, the bamboo started to sprout and it's starting to grow. And the farmer feels absolutely happy. Look at this, after 6 years, this starting to grow. We all must have experienced that, right? In our homes also, when we plant something and it's taking time, you keep nurturing, but you'll be waiting when this is going to sprout. But the moment it sprouts, how happy you feel when you see that first leaf emerging. It's like, wow. So the farmer felt very happy. But then he again wondered that it took 6 years for the sprouts to begin. Now, how long should I still wait for this to grow and for me to, do any kind of business with this? But then, yes, he still keeps nurturing it. And then to his surprise, he sees that within 9 months, the tree shoots up to 90 feet height. 90 feet height. And so he's like tremendously, of course, he's very happy. And he runs to his mentor and he tells him the story. Look, I've been waiting, and then to my surprise, within an year, it just shoot up to 90 feet tall. And so his master tells him that, what did you learn from this? Hmm? Never give up. Right? You didn't give up. You kept nurturing. Of course, you were waiting, but you didn't actually dig and see what's happening, right? Uh, with patience, you waited for it to grow. But what you did, most importantly, is you nurtured it. And so the results you're seeing right now. And so that's what it is, that sometimes, very soon we give up. Today we are in the world of fast pace, right? We want everything so quick. And what we think is even meditation has to be so quick. I sit in 5 minutes and there has to be some transformation. I do few days of meditation, you know, I should experience miracles. Maybe sometimes you may experience, but am I grounded is the point. Did I do enough effort that internally my roots have become really strong? Right? It's very important. Sometimes we want to take shortcuts because somewhere there is a little laziness. I don't want to do it. I want to short. That's why today everything is like power booster, right? Boost yourself. Instant drinks and instant things to make a change. So it's wonderful that we take a few moments, like say in Brahma Kumaris, what we do, something called traffic controls, right? Most of you must be definitely knowing. So during the day, a few times we pause, like about 5 to 7 times during the day for 3 minutes, we pause and we experience. We do some meditation, right? We pause and we stabilize in a positive thought, or we give an affirmation, or we just stay in peace to boost ourselves, which is wonderful. But also, it becomes essential that at least early in the mornings when I wake up, sit down for half an hour, for an hour, sit down and do some reflection, do some contemplation, some meditation for yourself. It's essential to do that. Why? That's when I'm actually nurturing my roots. So the master told the farmer that all these years what you were doing was that you were nurturing and the plant was doing its own work too. What was the plant doing? The plant was creating strong roots from inside. So that when it grows 90 feet tall, it has to have the strength to hold and the flexibility to sway to the storms of wind. And that's what is a spiritual practice does to the soul. When we each day take some time and we nurture ourselves and not just run to quick results. Have I transformed? Have I transformed? And sometimes what happens, we get disappointed, right? We take 2 steps. It's wonderful. It's working well. Yes, I'm feeling peaceful. Yes, I'm feeling grounded. But then maybe the third day or just after a few months, maybe something happened and I see a wave of powerful anger that's coming out, or I said something not nice to someone, and sometimes we feel disappointed. Oh no, this is not working. Or maybe some situation came and I would start doubting why this has happened. This shouldn't have been happening. Oh, I'm doing meditation. Where is this power of meditation? All these things we start to think and we doubt our practice. We doubt ourselves. And then what we do? We stop practicing. But this is where what it is that, yes, you have taken 2 steps already ahead. So appreciate. There is still a lot to do. And that's why it's called, a spiritual practice is always called a lifelong learning. It's a lifelong learning. Because every day, at every moment, we experience one storm or the other. And so it's not that in a day I become perfect. But each day I do it, I'm actually creating those powerful roots. And so as you're seeing another slide, that it is the strongest material. Bamboo is considered to be the strongest material. And it has that flexibility, the power to sway in rough winds and storms. And it demonstrates that humility. In circumstances that it can truly overcome. Yes. So one is, look at this, that at the bottom, with the roots, I'm grounded, but on the top, I'm flexible. I have that humility, and I know how to actually sway. But if I'm grounded, but if I'm rigid on the top, even that doesn't work, right? The other day we had very strong winds about 3 days ago. And so lots of trees fell. And somebody was sharing with me that, a tree, the way it actually fell was the roots were strong, the roots were there, but the tree actually broke um, really from the trunk. It completely broke and fell. And so this is what can happen, that if I'm not flexible on the top, meaning if I am grounded inside, the manifestation is also externally. My virtue of my practice of virtues should be that, the virtue of humility and flexibility. If I'm too rigid, also it doesn't work. I'll break at some point. When we say it's my way or the highway, it doesn't work, right? I need to learn to sway, because then only I'll go far distance. Okay, I'm flexible on the top. I'm easygoing. I'm flexible, but inside I'm not grounded. I don't have that deep spiritual practice to be grounded. Yes, I love meditation. Every day I like to join the classes. Every day I meditate. This is wonderful. But then somewhere I'm missing to grind my own ingredients, my own deep spiritual practice. Even then, there are chances of, getting disturbed with situations or getting uprooted. And so this is where we learn that when we have a very powerful spiritual practice every day, yes, it is very important to become grounded from inside. Let the soul experience that inner resilience, that inner stability, that calmness, that power, that strength. And then, of course, externally, I have that humility, that flexibility to flow. Right? But to flow, I need that focus. If there is no focus, how can I flow? So when it focus, meaning every single day doing something in a focused way, it's important. It's not that even when you join these sessions online on Zoom, sit down for a few moments, focus. Otherwise, what happens? You're doing something and then you're listening, or it's like, okay, yes, meditation is something that you can do anywhere, anytime, but sometimes also sit down and do it. So when there is that flow, focus, there is that flow, I'm able to be flexible to things. Mm. Because things will happen. But if I say, no, I cannot accept, this shouldn't be happening, that shouldn't be happening, this is the way it should be, or this person has to be like this, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Somewhere it pricks the soul, you know? I mean, somewhere there will be disappointments. It's me who will keep getting disappointed again and again when I have this huge amount of expectations that how this drama of life should be, how people around us should be. That's not the reality. That is not the reality. The reality is that everyone has their part to play. Everyone is unique in their individual roles. And the nature has its own part. Look what we are going through right now, this COVID. So do we have the power control to stop this COVID? Of course, we're waiting for the vaccine, but look what COVID has done. So the reality is that storms will come, ups and downs will happen, but it's me how I'm going to drive through those ups and downs. This is one of my favorite actually slides about this session, is the hollowness of the bamboo tree or the bamboo, right? Look at the bamboo, it's flexible, it's strong, but inside you see the hollowness. Isn't that interesting? And so this example teaches us that it's very important to look inside our minds and to have that hollowness, meaning to declutter our mind. It's essential that we declutter our mind. Even since morning, just take a moment and look at your mind. How was your mind since morning? Was it mischievous? Was it really good? Was it smart? Was it peaceful? Did you have more thoughts, less thoughts, waste thoughts, negative thoughts? A lot goes on in the mind, right? Lots. And so today it has become really difficult for us to take even one moment of silence. Why? Why is that? Why can't we concentrate our mind? So much is going on in the mind. The moment I wake up, it's like the chatter begins. So one of the things that we do in Raja Yoga is take few moments to do some reflection. So during the day, just taking a few moments and say you like something, or you want to practice something, say, just take a few moments and do a little journaling about it. So that helps to declutter the mind, because then when your mind is into all over the place in different directions, you're giving a a direction to the mind. You're giving a fine direction to your mind. So reflection, how is that I declutter mind? During the day, a few moments, just do some journaling, some reflection that really, really helps. Even when you go to bed, just before you go to bed, do some journaling. Don't go to bed with all these thoughts going on in the mind. Then it feels heavy, right? And so now the practice is that, just as I just mentioned, traffic controls. During the day, a few moments, just pause and take an affirmation, or just look into your mind, or become peaceful, or feel the presence of God. Help yourself to declutter, because you see, nobody will help us to do that. Why? Because it's my mind, right? It's not somebody else's mind. I have to take care of my own mind. I need to check those brakes. As I was saying, a smart driver is someone who knows to apply the brake at the right time. And so then I have to check my brakes if I have to apply at the right time. Right? And so help yourself to declutter. Absolutely necessary. And one of the powerful ways, yes, of course, to declutter is letting go. When you sit in meditation, or a few moments of reflection, if you're holding on to something tight in the mind, let it go. Because this is where, when we don't let go something, it sits inside, and when it sits inside, it starts to get decay, right? It leads us into distress. If I'm holding something, um, about a situation, about something past, about something that's creating negativity inside. And so if I don't let go, then I'm not actually allowing myself to be flexible. And I hold on to something, at one point I break, because I hold on and then accumulate more. I hold on that and I accumulate more. So what happens when I accumulate too much? There is heaviness. And when there is heaviness on something, it breaks. And that's when today you see so many souls, so many people are experiencing depression, anxiety. And sometimes when we don't take care of our inner world, we can break. So taking care of this inner world is very much important. Today it's as if we all compete who is more stressful. It's like the husband comes home and, oh, look how much I've done today. I'm so stressful. And the wife says, I'm not less, even I'm so stressful. I've done this. And so are we all competing how much we are stressful? Are we measuring who is more stressful? And so take responsibility of healing yourself, decluttering, having that peace of mind. It's important so that I know how to bend and sway rather than breaking. Because everyone can, like, their advisors, or people around us, they can advise us, help us. But it's me who needs to take responsibility of my own self. Right? Yes. And as I was just saying that, about, of course, I've been talking about this meditation practice and the spiritual practice. Yes, the meditation practice is definitely the practice which allows us to clear our internal headspace. Because sometimes somebody recently asked me this question. So after meditating what? What happens after meditating? I meditated, I had a very good time, then that's it. What's the manifestation? Yes, as you're seeing, that when after we meditate, right, we feel that silence or that inner power, then it's actually coming in the way we speak. It's a trajectory, spiritual trajectory, right? So in meditation, my thoughts are becoming pure, positive, calm, and it's influencing or it's affecting my vision, the way I start to look at things will have a shift. The way I'm looking at things, right? My vision, having a shift in my vision is bringing a shift in my attitude, my gestures, my vibrations. It's bringing a shift in the way I talk. It's bringing a shift in the strength of my intellect, how I understand and how I handle things. It's bringing a shift in my behavior. It's bringing a shift in my habits. I'm able to shift my habits. And of course, it's bringing a shift in the people around me. How? There is an impact of my vibrations, my behavior, my attitude on them in a positive way. And of course, it impacts the world. Right? And so meditation is not that I just sat for 10 minutes, it's wonderful, okay, I'm done, and then it's like, back to square one. And then I go into my task and then I feel heavy. It's not the way. Meditation is something that I integrate into my life. I integrate into my task. I integrate into my living in a practical way. It's an integration. It's not that I have few moments of meditation and then I'm feeling something else. Then I'm behaving in a different way. No. And that's why Raj Yoga is said to be a lifestyle. It's an integration into my life. It's a lifestyle that I'm living. It's like sometimes people say that, oh, I sit in meditation, it's difficult to meditate, my mind is wandering. So it's not that when I only, the whole day my mind is scattered anywhere and everywhere, and I just sit to meditate, and then my mind becomes free. No, sometimes because the whole day you've gathered a lot into the mind. So the mind is so heavy to fly, to experience silence. So it's necessary that I create a lifestyle. It's not just doing an hour and I'm done, or half an hour, I'm done. Just take those moments, integrate into your living. Now, the beautiful example of this, bending without breaking is also sometimes that, we ask ourselves, like, why am I in this situation? Why am I living with these people? I don't want to be with these people, right? Or sometimes we doubt the time we are in or the situation we are in. And we feel, why me? And sometimes we feel, why is that I have to be humble? We think that people will take advantage. But here is a beautiful analogy. We learn that how water is something that is very soft. Water is something that flows. It has no rigidity. It's flexible, right? Whatever vessel you put water in, it takes that shape. Wherever you pour, it flows. And so the paradox is that what is soft is strong. So what does water do? How water is strong, though it is soft, it's strong. How? Because when water actually flows through the rocks, what it does to the rocks, it shapes the rocks. Sometimes it does happen that sometimes people say, I'm very soft. I don't know why I'm with this strong person. You know, can't deal with this strong person. But sometimes we may think that anger or ego is strong, but no, anger and ego is actually weak. It brings us down. It creates a certain weakness. Huh? Somebody who is angry is not powerful, but somebody who's soft, who knows how to sway, who knows how to be humble, is actually grounded inside. It's a power. And so sometimes when we feel that why with these people, it's for a reason. Sometimes our softness is actually, yielding and creating that softness in others. But I'm not waiting when this person is going to change. It's not about that. It's about just doing my homework. Just let me be what I am from inside. Let me allow this softness of water flow. And we never know how it's going to touch and yield and soften others or anything for that matter. So what I'm going to do is here a little pause and just check in with all of you. I'm not sure if somebody is or this. So we knew you want to ask if you have any question. Of course, I have a few more slides to go. Do we want to actually do a little discussion now, or shall we do it in the end? How shall we do? We know. Can you suggest, please?
Vinuben might be away, so you
Okay.
can make your decision here.
Okay. Yeah, is that somebody's asking a question in the chat? Or can you see that, brother? So how about I finish the slides and maybe we can actually go into a little discussion. How about that?
Sure, sure, sure. So 6:30 we start evening meditation. Until then, you can plan to finish by 6:30.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. There are no questions on chat. There are just some messages.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I think there is one question.
So maybe we can take it at the end. Let me finish this then,
Sure,
and
sure.
then we'll take it at the end. Okay, thank you. So yes, we were just talking about the softness of the water, right? And the next ingredient to bend without breaking is love, the power of love. Love is beautiful, right? Love may push you to bend, but never break. And so, what is love? First and foremost thing is it's about loving yourself. And many times when we say loving ourselves, immediately these thoughts come in that, oh, loving myself means being selfish. No, it's not about being selfish. Love yourself first, because when you know how to show that compassion and love for your own self, then you know how to show for others. First is that self love. When I know how to love myself, I know how to not to give sorrow to myself. And when I know how to not to give sorrow or pain to myself, then I know how to give it to others as well. How to give that happiness to others, how to give that love to others. And so love is this powerful ingredient that allows me to stay really stable. And so recently also we were talking about this whole aspect about how self-love and self-care is absolutely necessary today, because there is no self-love. We carry a lot of self-guilt, or we're always trying to be somebody else. We're putting ourselves, we're trying to pretend or be somebody else, or competing with somebody else, and always feeling I'm not good enough. And especially if we see the younger generation, we all talk about the purpose of life, right? So this purpose of life, what is purpose of life? Understanding purpose of life means actually designing my own, becoming that master creator. Create your own purpose, design your purpose. Be that master creator, grind your own ingredients. Have that self-love. It's not about looking at others and saying, oh, you're doing wonderful, you're wonderful. Or we're always trying to pretend to be somebody else, right? We look at celebrities or, wonderful sports persons, and, we appreciate them. What about appreciating my own self? Do I look at myself, or when I wake up in the morning, just give one powerful affirmation to myself, or feel that self-respect? I am beautiful. I am a diamond. I'm a very special person. In this entire world, I'm very unique. There's no one like me. Do I feel these thoughts for myself? It's very important. When I have that self-love, the love for the self is like having dignity. The dignity for the self. When I have the dignity, I'm strong, I'm powerful. I don't easily break. It's not that I just, play to the tune of others or situations, or be like a puppet. But in love, I know how to bend, not break. So what is this love? Love is not just nice, flowery language, oh, you're wonderful, you're beautiful, or just, spending time together. But love is much more deeper than that. Love is learning to understand. Love is learning to understand each other. One is what's going on in the world, but one is, our own relationships sometimes can be very powerful, that it can make me sometimes, my life could be like a roller coaster, handling relationships. And so love is that ingredient where I learn to understand, I learn to forgive. I learn to compromise. I bend a little, you bend a little. Love is learning to grow with one another. Right? Love is not that I'm perfect, look at me. Love is something that we share, we care. Why? Why love is so beautiful? Because it's the ingredient, it's the virtue of the soul. I, the soul, I am loveful. I, the soul, I am beautiful. And that love inside, it's a pure virtue. So, yes, the next slide is about harmony. So, our Dadi Janki always used to mention this. She used to always say that if you want to live in a gathering, you should know how to harmonize. Many times, as I was growing up in this knowledge, Dadi Janki, telling me or telling us that, you learn to harmonize, you learn to actually dance to, it's called Ras, the dance of sanskars, it's called. When you know how to adjust, how to harmonize, you can live anywhere. That's what Dadiji used to say. And a few times she beautifully mentioned, what is this harmony? She said, har mani. It's a Hindi word. The English word, of course, it's harmony. But if you split into two words, har mani, meaning I accept the defeat. But it doesn't mean I accept the defeat, doesn't mean that I lost it. It's a win-win situation. So yes, in our everyday life, we do face challenges, we do face things, but it's important that, I have to pause and see, like, um, am I responsible in any way to what's going on? It's important to check that. Sometimes it's easy, to say it's because of you. Because of this one, I'm experiencing this way. Because of this one, I'm feeling this way. It's like we all like this blame game sometimes because of this person, I'm experiencing this. But sometimes it's important to pause and check, how am I being responsible to whatever is going on? Is there something I need to change? I bend and allow myself to transform. So definitely we should be honest about in our own self too. Because we talk about perfection, because the moment we think, why others don't, why others act like this, why others can't behave the way I want, or why can't they do this way? But the thing is, am I perfect that I'm pointing out to others? So harmony, meaning I accept the defeat, meaning a win-win situation. Sometimes we become too rigid. I'm right and that's it. This is it. But allow your strong wills to bend, your opinions to bend sometimes. Because if I'm too rigid, very easy to break. And nobody wants to be with someone who is too rigid, right? Flexibility. Sometimes it's okay. Take a back step. Okay, so one of the most beautiful things about this session is this slide, the fire of yoga. It's just that how, we all know how, the metal is put in the fire to actually create the bend. What happens when we put the iron into this metal into fire or furnace? It starts to burn, right? It's easy to bend. We can mold in whatever shape we want. When it is in high furnace, in the same way, it's wonderful we learn all of these things, that we should have love, humility, inner stability. But where is the root of all of this? Where do I charge all of this? Where do I plug in? Is my yoga the source? It becomes very, very absolutely essential. The days that we are living in, it is very essential that we connect to the source. Source, God, so that I'm able to actually fill myself with that inner strength, inner power. Why is that we give so less time to that source? And we all say, whenever there is a problem or anything, we run to Him, right? We remember Him. We call out to Him. Why is that we in our day-to-day life, today, everything, our work, our task, our family, household, all of these things have become so much priority. And God, the one who is our parent, the one who is the source, what the soul needs, that peace, that love, He's the source of all those virtues and powers. And we give so less time to Him. Why is that we don't give time? Why is that sometimes in our life He becomes the last priority, last in the list? And sometimes we don't even remember to include. No. I really don't hesitate to reveal or share about God, because the times we are living in, it's absolutely essential to recharge ourselves, empower ourselves, connecting to the source. And so when we connect to God, and when we are in love with that source, it's like that beautiful fire that purifies the soul. Sometimes we feel that I want to change, but I'm unable to change. Sometimes we feel like I want to change my anger. I don't want to be egoistic. I don't want to talk like this. But sometimes we get trapped in our own habits. How are these habits are going to bend or be molded or be transformed? Is that fire of yoga. When I have that deep connection and love with that beautiful one, He molds me, He shapes me, He bends those strong sanskars, the strong habits inside me. And that's why that's why He's called purifier. If you look at the word purifier, He's like that pure fire who transforms us. And so it's essential for us to give some time to remember the source. Yes. And that's when easy transformation happens. let this journey of bending and not breaking not just be alone, but with God. And so, yes, bending is, in essence, is a precaution, but not bend to such an extent that you break. That is also important, having that balance. Keep that balance of having that inner strength, that humility, bending but not breaking. Okay, so I pause here and I open to any of your questions or any of your thoughts or what you have taken or anything you felt interesting or you didn't like. It's fine. So you're most welcome to share.
Sister, I have a question.
Sure.
So why is the bending easy easy with certain people and not with everyone?
Because each one is unique, right? Each one is different. Some have naturally certain qualities in them, and they take care to sustain those qualities in them, and so yes, it becomes easy for them to naturally mold. Let me actually share with you an example. Our Dadi Prakashmani, who left the body, of course, a few years ago. Dadiji was one, somebody came to her and they were very upset about something, and some of you must have heard this story. So they were very upset about something and they were on and about it, and Dadi was quietly um, you know sitting and listening and not saying a word, no reaction, just very quietly, in a very gentle way, she was listening to this soul. And so after this one, said everything, and then, okay, she gives the fruit and Shanti, and so the soul leaves. And so the sister who was with Dadi, she asked Dadi, what is this? He was, saying so much. Why didn't you say something? And whatever he was talking was, not incorrect. Um, and so Dadi said, what I was doing was I was checking my powers. She didn't react. She was checking her powers, how much she can execute her power. Can you imagine, like, to have that absolute stability inside? And she was so grounded. It's like she has absolute control over her thoughts and executing her powers, her power of tolerance, or her power of patience, or just being so compassionate towards the soul. And so like that, you can see, like, it depends on your spiritual practice and what you nurture in your life, that you have the capacity of responding to a situation. And of course, some have more immunity power, that they respond and not react, and some have less immunity power where they react more and respond less. So it's your internal practice, I would say. It's your internal, your spiritual immunity, I would say.
Thank you, sister.
Benji?
Yes.
Hi. Can you hear me? I'm Marie Kusum.
Yes,
I've been texting it. No, like, yeah, the environment I live is like, it's very hard because I fear at my age to step out, and then I got a back disease, I got scoliosis. So I thank God, I thank Baba, and she knows somewhat about the Brahma Kumaris because somebody from Hollywood one day invited us for some program in Hollywood. So, and also she's into bhakti. But the thing is, like, like slightest thing goes wrong, they have to say, snap off some word. Last week I got blasted by her sister-in-law or something I didn't say. And today my phone was not working, for example. I don't grumble, but the human nature is, all at once, oh my God, hang with her or something like that, I would say. And again, I say immediately, no, 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 bless my soul and bless her too. But because it's not good for me. But today's talk, the moment I got late, but the moment I opened up, it was so helpful. But when it comes on and on and on, and even if you go to the school, that lady is in the nature of, why isn't this right? Why isn't that right? Go and tell that teacher this is wrong, because it's kind of toxic. But I got to somehow, like you would say, the metal is being heated. Everything is like, relevant to our normal day-to-day life. Life is not easy. This is one way for me. Somebody else is something. And also then I have my daughter who is all the time who says stressful, stressful, stressful. So one question is, with my change or shift and my meditation, I don't spend long hours because sometimes I go off. Like I sit there, I fall asleep. But also I'm into Bhakti because I'm a Catholic. I go to church, I pray. So these long hours spending with God, will it really have any effects on them? Any positive effects, Didi, Benji?
Long hours. So what did you say?
Long hours of meditation, long hours of having good wishes, and let's say I say, oh, nothing should go right with them. Again I say, no, 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 bless them, bless me. Will these have any good effects on them? Because I want good effects on people, not negative things to be happening. So my sudden, let's say I say, oh, things should go wrong, but immediately I say to myself, no, 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 bless me and bless them. Bless my thoughts and bless them. So does this have positive effects on them, and is it good for everybody?
Yeah, for sure. You see, now after some time, I think, I don't know, today, I think you're going to have meditation after this, I guess, at 6:30. And so we do something called World Meditation Hour. And it always, when you have the pure thoughts for the souls, it definitely impacts them. Your pure thoughts, your pure vibrations help souls in the form of blessings, in the form of healing.
Mm-hmm.
So it is important to be benevolent, to have benevolent thoughts for others, having good wishes and pure feelings. Your vibrations will help those souls, will touch the souls.
Yeah, and there will be a change, right? For sure. Even if my daughter is in New York, there will be a change, right, in her life. If I
But
have,
if you expect a change, it won't happen. But if you just give unconditionally, not expect a change, then it will. But if you think, if you what do you call, program yourself, I'm giving her good wishes and this should happen, that won't work like that. You have to be very unconditional, no expectations, and in an unlimited way you be benevolent to souls. And
no, it's not
has to happen.
expectations from me, but at least something good happening to the other person, not to have that expectation, even just to be giving and giving.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you, Shanti.
Anybody else would like to say anything? Nobody has anything to share? Are you all content?
I think you have given us enough food for thought. So it was very good. Thank you.
Very good.
Shanti Madhavi, and yeah, it looks like everyone is already very content. So can you just lead us with a closing meditation? And
Sure. Okay. Wonderful. So let us sit in a few moments of meditation now. So A word that we replace meditation with in Raja Yoga is remembrance. So it's just very gentle remembrance of myself, my inner strength, my power. And just remembering to remembrance of that source. So for a few moments, allow yourself to stabilize in the awareness of being a soul. A being of light. And just focus on one thought. I am light. And let the consciousness of this body gently fade away. What kind of light am I? Peaceful. Allow abundance of peace to emerge. And in this peace, naturally, my mind is pulled towards the source. Source, God, the ocean of peace, ocean of love. And just for 1 minute, I plug in into the source of peace and love, and let the soul experience the rays, the light of peace, the light of love. And just hold this experience for a few seconds. As I feel charged, connecting to the source, I gently come down, come back into this physical awareness, but hold this experience whilst performing podcast. Om Shanti. Thank you.
Thank you, Madhvi Ben. That was wonderful. And thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you. Pleasure is mine.
Thank
Lovely
you.
to be
Thank
with
you.
all of you. Om Shanti, everyone.